I used to plan about the space you took, the polished shoes, the open books, the way your sweaters crowded every line, leaving barely any room for mine. But now the silence has a bitter taste when I look at all this hollowed out space. It's funny how the room I used to crave feels more like standing at the edge of a grave. I reach for your hoodie to cover the chill, but the hangers just rattle perfectly still. The cedar smells like you, but the air is cold. I'm holding on to stories that will never be told. In this bedroom of echoes and half-empty closets, I'm counting the losses and the broken deposits. There's a ghost in the drywall, a gap on the shelf. I'm learning to live in this house by myself. But how do I fill up the holes that you tore when half of my life walked out of that door? Yeah, it's just wood and wire, but it's breaking my spirit. The sound of the nothing, I don't wanna hear it. There's a single box sitting on the floor, filled with the things you didn't want anymore. A chipped coffee mug and a frayed silk tie, the leftover pieces of a long goodbye. I should throw them away or hide them from view, but they're the only things left that still belong to you. Now the light hits the carpet where your dresser once stood, and I give up the space if I only could. In this bedroom of echoes and half-empty closets, I'm counting the losses and the broken deposits. There's a ghost in the drywall, a gap on the shelf. I'm learning to live in this house by myself. But how do I fill up the holes that you tore when half of my life walked out of that door? Yeah, it's just wood and wire, but it's breaking my spirit. The sound of the nothing, I don't wanna hear it. You took the curtains, now the sun is too bright. You took the warmth, now I can't sleep at night. It's not just the clothes or the pictures you took, it's the ending of us, the last page of the book. Yeah, architecture of we has been pulled to the ground, and I'm just the wreckage that hasn't been found. In this bedroom of echoes, a haunting a wire, a vacant apartment under a gray sky. I've got all the room now, I've got all the air, but I'd trade every inch just to see you standing there. Just an empty shell, just me by myself. The coffee's cold on your side of the bed. I retain every word that we never said. The closet's empty, just a straight white frame. But the silence still echoes the sound of your name. I walk through the hallways, I reach for the light, but the darkness is heavy and it's winning the fight. Now I'm just tracing the outline of your shadow on the floor, trying to find the person who doesn't live here anymore. It's a ghost of of a feeling, a shape in the dark, a hollowed out rhythm where you used to be the spark. I'm holding on to nothing, it's pulling me apart, just tracing the outline of your shadow on my heart. I saw a car like yours at the stoplight today. For a second I forgot you went 3 states away. I reached for my phone just to tell you the news. Then I remembered I'm the one you chose to lose. The sun hits the window where you used to stand, but I'm just grasping at air where I used to hold your hand. And I'm still tracing the outline of your shadow on the floor, trying to find the person who doesn't live here anymore. It's a ghost of a feeling, a shape in the dark, a hollowed out rhythm where you used to be the spark. I'm holding on to nothing, it's pulling me apart, just tracing the outline of your shadow on my heart. They say that time heals, that the edges will fade, but I'm still living in the silhouette you made. How do I move when the floorboard's still ache? How do I breathe when every breath feels like a mistake? Yeah, I'm still tracing the outline of your shadow on the floor, begging for a version of us that's not there anymore. It's a ghost of a feeling, a shape in the dark, a hollowed out rhythm where you used to be the spark. I'm holding on to nothing and it's pulling me apart, just tracing the outline of your shadow on my heart. The sun's going down now, the shape starts to bend. I'm losing your outline again and again. Just a shadow, just a ghost, a part of you I love the most. I still walk softly around the bedside, like you're sleeping and the sun is just a lie. I leave a little space for you on the morning commute, but the silence in the kitchen is absolute. I'm memorizing shadows where you used to stand, tracing the outline of a ghost with my hand. Now it's just me and these floorboards that remember your step, and the secrets in the drywall that we should have kept. Every creak is a hollow echo of your name, in a house that looks the same, but it's not the same. I'm tripping over memories you left on the wood, trying to stand where we once stood, but the foundation is heavy and the air is thin between these 4 walls where your love lived in. The hallway is a gallery of things I can't move, a dent in the carpet, a familiar groove. I heard a sound in the night, a rhythmic beat, just the house settling under the weight of defeat. I haven't swept the dust where your boots used to sit. I'm the same. I'm tripping over memories you left on the wood. Trying to stand where we once stood, but the foundation is heavy and the air is thin between these four walls where your love lived in. So I'll tread light, I'll stay quiet in this lonely wooden riot. One more night, one more floorboard moan in a house full of you, where I'm all alone. The moonlight's tracing patterns on a mahogany lid, hiding all the promises that we once did. It's been 88 days since I heard a sound besides my own breathing in the quiet all around. I used to find your rhythm without even trying, but now the middle sea is just a wooden way of crying. The sheet music is yellow, curled at the edge like a dying flower on a window ledge. I reach for a chord, but my fingers go numb, waiting for a melody that refuses to come. Now there's just dust on the piano keys, settling like snow on our memories. The ivory is cold and the black notes are blurred by the ghost of a song that'll never be heard. I'm scared if I play, I'll just find a space where the air used to hum with the light of your face. Yeah, it's a silent symphony of please don't leave, in a layer of dust on my sleeve. You used to hum along while I found the key, a perfect alignment of you and me. Now the pedal is stuck and the strings are out of tune, just like the gravity of this empty room. I started a bridge back in late July, but the ink ran dry when you said goodbye. If I wipe it away, does the feeling go too? Is the grit and the gray all I have left of you? I'd rather stay dirty, I'd rather stay still than face the vibration of a heart that's had its fill. Oh, there's just dust on the piano keys, settling like snow on our memories. The ivory is cold and the black notes are blurred by the ghost of a song that'll never be heard. I'm scared if I play, I'll just find a space where the air used to hum with the light of your face. Yeah, it's a silent symphony of please don't leave, and a layer of dust on my sleeve. So I'll leave the lid closed, I'll let the silence grow, because a song without you is just a wind that won't blow. Just dust on the keys.
I found the folder in the back of the drawer, the plans for the life we don't live anymore. Yellowed edges and lines drawn in blue, a kitchen for three, and a garden for you. Here is the porch where we'd watch the years go, and here is the hall where our shadows would grow. But the ink didn't dry before you walked away, and left me with rooms where I can't even stay. It's a masterwork of almost, and could have been a skeleton waiting for walls to begin. But you took the hammer and you took the light, and left me to build in the middle of the night. Now I'm holding a blueprint for loneliness, measuring the distance of your cold goodbye kiss, square footage of heartache, the height of the walls, the echo of silence through these hollowed out halls. I'm tracing the ghost of a home we didn't build, with a frame full of holes that'll never be filled. It's a beautiful design, a perfect disaster, a blueprint for a life that I can't be the master. There's a mark for a window to catch the sunrise. I see it reflected in my tired eyes, but the view is just gravel and overgrown weeds, and a heart that is buried with all of our seeds. I'm checking the math on where we went wrong, the structural failure of singing your song, the foundation cracked under the weight of the doubt. Now I'm locked in a place I can't live without. They say you can't live in a house made of paper, but I'm breathing the fumes and the memory vapor. I'm sleeping in hallways that don't have a floor, waiting for a knock on a non-existent door. Of your cold goodbye kiss, the square footage of heartache, the height of the walls, the echo of silence through these hollowed out halls. I'm tracing the ghost of a home we didn't build, with a frame full of holes that'll never be filled. It's a beautiful design, a perfect disaster, a blueprint for a life that I can't be the master. So I'll fold up the edges, I'll crease every line, and dream of the rooms that were yours and were mine. But the architecture's broken, the dream is just art. This is the blueprint of a shattered heart. Coffee's gone cold in your favorite cracked mug, while I'm staring at the ring where your glass used to snug. The wood is stained dark from a spill years ago, back when the highs were fast and the hurts were slow. I'm sitting in the chair with the wobbly leg, with a heart full of questions I'm too tired to beg. The salt and the pepper are still side by side, a mockery of us and the knot we untied. I look across the table at the empty space, trying to map the light that used to hold your face. I'm practicing my lines for a ghost in the room, while the shadows are weaving a shroud on a loom. This is the kitchen table conversation, the one where I'm plate. But it's hard to eat dinner when I'm serving up hate. No, it's not even hate, it's just hollow and blue. Goodbye to the table, and goodbye to you. I bought the tickets, but I'm the only guest, walking through the hallways of a heart that's at rest. Nothing's been touched since the day that you left. The air is heavy with the weight of the theft. Your coat's on the hook behind a velvet rope. Under glass is the letter where I ran out of hope. I'm the curator of things that used to be breathing, stuck in the moment of your Sunday leaving. Don't touch the exhibits, don't stir up the dust. It's a fragile collection of forever and trust. The lighting is dim and the spirit is low in this gallery of places we used to go. Now I'm living in a museum of us, watching the iron of our promises rust. Every room is a memory, every frame is a scar. I'm studying the history of how far we are. I'm the night watchman walking the floor, guarding a love that doesn't live here anymore. Yeah, the admission is free, but the price is too high. Living in a museum of a long faded life. In the West Wing there's a smell of your hair and a recorded loop of your laugh on the stair. I've cataloged the whispers and the way that you sighed, and the exact timestamp when the fire died. I polished the mirror so I can see what you saw before you found the cracks and the structural flaw. Now I'm just a tour guide for my own regret, showing people the parts I can't quite forget. There's a no exit sign hanging over the door, and I've forgotten what the outside is for. Why go to the city or look at the sky when I have every hello and every goodbye preserved in the dark, kept in the cold. A story that's finished but never grows old. Yeah, I'm living in a museum of us, watching the iron of our promises rust. Every room is a memory, every frame is a scar. I'm studying the history of how far we are. I'm the night watchman walking the floor, guarding a love that doesn't live here anymore. Yeah, the admission is free, but the price is too high. Living in a museum of a long faded life. The lights go down at the end of the day, but I'm the only one who doesn't walk away. I'll sleep in the lobby, I'll wait in the hall, between the portraits on the crumbling wall. Just a relic in the museum of us.
I'm staring at the corner by the window pane, where the colors turn to gray from the summer rain. The floral pattern that you chose in May is curling up and folding, just trying to get away. I remember how we smoothed it with our open palms, back when the house was steady and the world was calm. There's a bubble in the center where the glue went dry, like a pocket full of secrets or a baited sigh. I try to press it back, try to make it stick, but the plaster underneath is feeling tired and sick. It won't hold the weight of the beauty we planned. It just crumbles in a powder in the palm of my hand. And now the wallpaper's feeling like my heart tonight. Strip by strip we're losing all the light, exposing the cracks that we tried to disguise underneath the forever and the no more lies. It's hanging in ribbons, it's falling in sheets, like a lonely confession on these empty streets. I'm watching the edges go brittle and thin, just like the skin that I'm shivering in. There's a jagged line running down the hallway wall, marking the day that we started to fall. You can see the old layers from the years before, a different shade of blue from a different door. I thought we were the code that will finally last, but we're just another shadow fading into the past. The adhesive is failing, the bond is all gone, and I'm left with the bareness of a bitter dawn. Should I tear it all down? Should I strip it to the bone and face the cold brick of being alone? Or do I keep patching up what's already torn, weathering the wreckage in a way that I'm on? Every scrap on the floor is a piece of a dream, ripping apart at the literal seam. So I'll sit in the center of this messy room and watch the patterns wither in the deepening gloom. Just a little more white space, a little more bare, a little more nothing in the stagnant air. Let it be, let it fall till there's nothing left but the wall. Sound of a dry piece of paper in the floor.
I'm standing in the hallway, measuring the air, finding all the angles where you're no longer there. I got a level and a compass, but I'm losing my way in the blueprints of the silence that you left yesterday. The ceiling feels higher, the corners feel sharp, like the hollowed out wooden body of a broken heart. I'm mapping out the void where your laughter used to lean, and the structural geometry of everything between. You can't build a home on a vanishing point, or find any strength in a fractured joint. The math doesn't work when the sum is just one, in a house built of shadows and a setting sun. It's the architecture of absence, a monument to gone, a cathedral of the lonely that I'm living in at dawn. Every doorway is a frame for a ghost to walk through, in this temple of the spaces that were once filled by you. I'm bracing the rafters with the weight of my grief, but the foundation is shallow and the comfort is brief. It's a masterwork of emptiness, a cold and hollow design, the architecture of a heart that used to be mine. The staircase is a spiral leading nowhere at all, just a climb toward the echo of a name I can't call. The windows are mirrors looking back in my chest, at the side of the wreckage where you used to rest. I'm checking the stress points of a soul on its own, trying to find the beauty in a pillar of stone. But the drafts are coming in through the holes in the plan. I'm losing the grip of a structural man. They say form follows function, but what is the use of a heart that is built for a love that's broken loose? The walls are closing in, but there's nothing to hold, just a sky blue ceiling and a floorboard of cold. It's the architecture of absence, a monument to gone, a cathedral of the lonely that I'm living in at dawn. Every doorway is a frame for a ghost to walk through, in this temple of the spaces that were once filled by you. I'm bracing the rafters with the weight of my grief, but the foundation is shallow and the comfort is brief. It's a masterwork of emptiness, a cold and hollow design, architecture of a heart that used to be mine. So I'll walk these vacant rooms, I'll study every line, I'll inhabit the hollow and call it just fine. But the house is still standing, while the home is all gone, just the architecture carrying on, carrying on, carrying on.
Watched your shadow stretch across the hardwood floor, one last silhouette before you reached the door. You didn't turn around, you didn't check the hall, you just left your house keys on the table by the wall. The air in the foyer turned heavy as lead, with all of the sorries we never quite said. I counted your footsteps on the gravel outside, nowhere left for a broken down lover to hide. I held my breath until my lungs began to burn, waiting for the handle or the hinges to turn. But the world went quiet, the birds flew away, and the sky turned a permanent shade of gray. Then I heard the front door's final click, like a match going out or the turn of a wick. A sound so small, but it shook every bone, the heavy vibration of being alone. It wasn't a scream and it wasn't a cry, front door's final click. I'm standing in the hallway staring at the wood. I'd go out and chase you if I thought that I should, but that sound was a sentence, a closing of the book. The final alley of the path that you took. The deadbolt is biting, the latch is in place. In a house that's forgotten the shape of your face. I used to love the sound of you coming home. Now it's just the rhythm of a heart turned to stone. It's funny how a piece of brass in a frame can signal the end of a beautiful name. No more, I'm home, no more, how was your day? Just a metallic note in a cold kind of way. I'm trapped on the inside of a door that won't move, with nothing but a ghost and a point to disprove. Like a match going out of the turn of a wick. A sound so small, but it shook every bone. The heavy vibration of being alone. It wasn't a scream and it wasn't a cry, just the mechanical sound of a permanent goodbye. Now the locks are all set and the seals are all thick after the echo of the front door's final click. Door's final click. The house is a vault now. The memory is stored. I'm on the wrong side of the heavy pine board. Click. And the silence begins, and the loneliness wins. The front door's final click.
I'm clearing out the closet of the things I used to feel, to make a little room for a heart that's made of steel. I packed up the laughter and the way we used to dance, and put a fleecy sign on a second chance. I can't afford the taxes on a dream that's gone to sea, so I'm selling off the parts of me I no longer need. The joy was a luxury I could only just sustain. Now I'm moving to the basement to hide out from the rain. I'm checking all the references of the people moving in, hoping they're sturdier than the places where I've streets are crisp and white. They won't know about the ghosts that kept me up all night. I've scrubbed away the traces of your perfume on the wall, and muffled every echo that used to haunt the hall. I'm charging top dollar for the view of the sunrise, the one that used to open up the sparkle in your eyes. I'll just take the check and I'll walk the other way while somebody else inhabits my favorite time of day. Is it temporary or is it a long-term lease? Did I sell my soul just to get a little piece? The contract is signed and the ink is finally dry, but I'm a homeless man beneath a perfectly blue sky. I'm a landlord of a life I can't live in anymore. Yeah, I'm renting out my happiness to someone I don't know, 'cause I can't bear to watch the garden overflow. I'm letting strangers live inside the smiles I used to wear while I stay in the dark and breathe the empty air. It's a business transaction, a way to pay the debt of 1,000 midnights wasted on a deep and dark regret. Yeah, the keys are on the counter. I've given up the ghost to the ones who love the things that I'll miss the most. Hope they keep the heater on. Hope they don't mind the creak in the floor. Hope they find the magic that I can't find no more. I'm just the owner of a heart I can't afford to keep. I'm walking through the entryway, but I don't take off my coat. There's a lump of lead in silence sitting heavy in my throat. The thermostat is humming, trying to fight the winter chill, but the coldest part of this whole house is standing perfectly still. I've got a roof above my head and a floor beneath my feet, but a shelter's just a shell when the ruin is complete. I look at the upholstery where you used to rest your head. Now it's just a fabric graveyard for the things we never said. The mortgage is all paid for, the deed is in my name, but I'm a squatter in a memory playing a losing game. You can't fix the foundation with a hammer and a nail when the spirit of the structure is a love that's gonna fail. Now I'm just staring at four walls and no home in a zip code of together where I'm dying and alone. I've got windows for the light, but the sun won't settle in. It just bounces off the places where your shadow should have been. It's a box made of plaster, a cage made of pine, a beautiful enclosure for a heart that's lost its line. Yeah, the address hasn't changed, but the soul has flown, leaving me four walls and no home. The kitchen is a showroom where no one ever eats, and the hallway is a tunnel to 1,000 slow defeats. I've got a king-size mattress, but I'm clinging to the edge like a man who's afraid he's gonna fall off of a ledge. I see the marks upon the door frame where we measured out our pride. Now they're just jagged scars from the day the fear just a building where a heart can't quite survive. Build it up with brick, build it up with stone, but you're just building a prison if you're living it alone. Paint the shutters blue, let the ivy climb the gate. It's just a pretty mask for a hollowed out estate. I'm a king in a castle with a throne made of glass, watching every second of a lonely future pass. Now I'm just staring at four walls and no home, in a zip code of together where I'm dying alone. I've got windows for the light, but the sun won't settle in. It just bounces off the places where your shadow should have been. It's a box made of plaster, a cage made of pine, a beautiful enclosure for a heart that's lost its line. Yeah, the address hasn't changed, but the soul has flown, leaving me four walls and no So I'll sit in the quiet, I'll stay in the dark, waiting for a fire that lost its only spark, just four walls, just a ceiling. But God, I miss the feeling of a
I'm standing like a bottom, looking up into the dark, tracing the grain of the oak way left to jade and mold. 13 steps of symmetry, a clown we used to name, before the wood began to grow and the spirit began to break. Remember how the moonlight used to guide us to the top. Back on the third, the rhythm of our hearts would never stop. Now staring at the landing like it's another world away. The summit I can't reach since you left me on a Tuesday. My hand is on the river, but the brass is cold as ice. I'm paying for a paradise at a heavy, hollow price. 1 foot on the rudder, when my spirit's made of lead. Looking at the empty space where we used to lay our heads. Now it's just a staircase to nowhere, a climb to the blue, a path that's paved with memories that don't lead back to you. Every wiser is a reason, every tried is a regret, and a heart played hide to learn how to forgive or to forget. I'm ascended in a silence, I'm wandering the hole in a vertical desert between these four walls. Yeah, I'm halfway to the ceiling, but I'm falling like a stone on a staircase to nowhere. But I'm living here alone. Your sixth step always creeps like it's calling out your name. For warning to the weary, let be ending everything's just the same. I used to hear your slippers as you'd wander down for tea. Thought the only sound in the foyer was the ghost of what was me. I've polished all the spindles, I've dusted every flight, but I can't scrub away the way you vanished in line. It's the bridges out to shoreline, a light in the world. It's a beautiful way to a shore longer, harder fall. Sometimes I sit on my middle step and wait for the air to move, hoping I can find a rhythm in a familiar groove. But the upstairs is a vacuum, and the downstairs is a tomb, and I'm just a lonely shadow in a transit of the to nowhere, the climbing to the blue, a path that's paved with memories that don't lead back to you. Every riser is a reason, every trend is a regret. In a house that has learned how to forgive or to forget, I'm sitting in the silence, I'm wandering the hole. Stay right here on the bottom step, where the shadows grow and the secrets are kept. It's a long way up, and there's nothing at the top, just the sound of my heart, waiting for the beat to stop. We're sitting on the carpet where the evening light turns thin, staring at the jagged edges of where we should be king. It falls in pieces scattered like a falling deck of cards. The picture on the box is bright, but the reality is hard. Here's a corner of the coastline, here's a fragment of the sky, and here's a missing Santa where we didn't say goodbye. The floor is cold beneath me, but I can't seem to get up, while the tea's turning bitter in the half-full ceramic cup. I try to force the pieces, try to make the colors match, but the cardboard is all swollen and the surface has a scratch. You were supposed to be a mountain of you, salt and gray. Now it's just a pile of maybe in the hollow of my head. And all see your blue sweater tucked beneath the couch, next to a heavy silence that I carry in a slouch. I thought if I just worked at it, if I stayed up through the night, I could solve the mystery of how we lost the light. But there's a gap right in the voice, a space I can't explain, a sudden disappearance in the middle of the grave. I'm chasing heavy outlines on the patterns of the floor that recognize the shapes of you that don't live here anymore. Should I sweep them in a box? Should I throw the dream away? I'll leave them as a monument to how we couldn't stay. Every year the lock and promise is a jagged little lie, when you're staring at the pieces and you don't know how or why. I'll let the dust settle in the corners of the room. One piece is missing, the one that looks like you. And without it, the picture's never true. The lamp on the nightstand is flickering low, casting long shadows that don't wanna go. I'm flat on my back, on the side of the bed, with a suitcase of what ifs inside of my head. I'm watching the blaze cut the air into slices, counting the cost of my many devices. It's set on low, but it's moving too fast, it's whipping up gold from a beautiful past, around and around in a circle of slate. I'm losing my grip on the hands of my fate. I'm staring so hard that the room starts to sway, like the floor's giving out in a slow kind of way. And I'm caught in the ceiling fan vertigo, watching the only world I've ever known, spinning in circles, a blur of the gray, since the moment you turned and you walked away. tassel that hangs from the pull chain of brass, swinging like time through a broken down glass, is dragging the air across my cold skin, reminding me where your touch should have been. The hum of the motor is the only heartbeat in a room that is hollow and feels incomplete. I used to find balance by looking at you. Now the horizon is shattered in two. If I turn off the switch, will the spinning all stop? Or will I just face the long, heavy drive? The silence is louder than the blades in the air, and I'm paralyzed here by your empty chair. I'm falling upward, I'm losing the ground in a vortex of love that can never be found. For the sky to hit the ground, I'll just keep staring, I'll just keep spinning in a game where the loneliness is the only thing winning. The window's wide open to the humidity, but there's a frost in this room that only I see. The crickets are screaming in the tall summer grass, and the heat is awake against the window glass. But I'm shivering here under a heavy duvet, wishing the sweat will wash the memory away. I'm reaching my arm out to the right hand side, looking for a shore and a receding tide. The thermometer says it's 84. There's a winter wind blowing under the door. I got the fan on high just to drown out the breath of a house that is suffering a slow, quiet death. It's the middle of summer, but I'm freezing to death in these cold sheets of mid-July, catching my breath. The cotton is still where your warmth used to be. Now it's just a desert of white linen to me. How can the sun be so bright and so high when the bed is an iceberg beneath the blue sky? Yeah, the world is on fire, but I'm caught in the light of these cold sheets in mid-July. I used to complain that you ran too high. Now I give everything for the little you got. I'm tracing the wrinkles that won't go away, like the tracks of a ghost who decided to stay. I've tried to move over to sleep in the middle, but the math of a heartbreak is a cruel little riddle. The more space I take, the more empty I feel, in a seasonal lag that's becoming too real. The neighbors splashing in the pool down the lane, while I'm drowning in a dry kind of pain. The burn in the charcoal, I smell the wood smoke, but I'm under the covers, starting to choke on the frost, on the pillow, the ice in the air, the terrifying stillness of you not being there. It's the middle of summer, but I'm freezing to death in these cold sheets of mid-July, catching my breath. The cotton is stiff where your warmth used to be. Now it's just a desert of white linen and me. How can the sun be so bright and so high when the bed is an iceberg beneath the blue sky? Yeah, the world is on fire, but I'm caught in the light of these cold sheets in mid-July. Summer's for lovers, summer's for life, but I'm stuck in January, in the middle of the night. Pull the blanket up, close my eyes tight. Cold sheets, cold heart, no light. I pull the string on the light bulb in the ceiling to face the heavy dust of every vanished feeling. The air is thick with sea air in the smell of photograph. Graveyard for the promises we haven't buried yet. Here's the easel and the canvas where you were gonna paint. Our colors are faded and the spirit's getting faint. And a cradle that we bought before the war fell through the forest. Just a hollow wooden ribcage by the attic door. It's steep, climb up these narrow creek and steps to a room filled with the ghosts of unanswered prayers. Everything they wanted is covered up in sheets, like a city of the dead above the busy city streets. In the attic full of abandoned dreams, nothing's ever quite as golden as it seems. I'm tripping on the shadows of the life we didn't leave, tending to a garden that turned into a weed. It's a museum of almost, a gallery of lost, and we're the only one who's left to count the cost. Yeah, I'm shivering in the rafters, coming apart at the seams of here in the attic of abandoned dreams. There's a suitcase in the corner with a tag from 2024, from the trip to the Pacific that we don't talk about more. And the maps are all folded with dating starting to bleed, showing every single highway that we'll never ever need. I found a box of old letters tied with a ribbon of blue, filled with a version of me that was still left by you. I throw it all away, but I can't let go of the weight, so I just sit on Mongol ruins of a twisted kind of faith. The insulation's itching and the roof is leaking, so just like the way I some things are better left underneath the dark and dusty sky. The light is going down, the hatch is closing tight. Goodbye to the future we didn't get right. I'm sitting in the armchair, watching the sky turn to leaf, while the ghosts of our laughter play tricks in my head. The clouds are moving in to claim the afternoon, and the storm outside is singing a familiar lonely tune. I remember how we used to watch the lightning from the porch, back when our love was a fire, not a flicker of a torch. Now the clouds are weeping and the glass is getting cold, and I'm holding on to stories that will never be told. Every drop is a memory sliding down the frame, searching for a surface that can finally take the blame. But the water's just a veil, a blur across the street, where the world keeps on moving while I taste the defeat. And now the window pane paints a stain by the rain, tracing the jagged little lines of all this hidden pain. The view is getting distorted, the colors start to bleed, until I can't tell the difference between the hurt and the need. It's a liquid cage of silver, a curtain made of gray, watching the last trace of your shadow far away. Yeah, I'm looking through the tears of a sky that's gone insane, at the world through window pane, stained by the rain. The condensation's thick enough to write your name in dust, a temporary monument to a temporary trust. I watch the droplets collide and become something more before they vanish in the cracks along the windowsill floor. The garden's getting hammered, the roses look so tired, like the exhausted remains of the passion we fired. I used to think the weather was just a change in the air, but now it feels like a witness to the fact you weren't there. Is it the sky that's crying, or is it just the glass waiting for the heavy clouds of us to finally pass? I could reach for a towel, I could wipe the surface dry, but I still see the reflection of a man living a lie. The storm is on the outside, but the flood is in my chest, and there's no high ground left to find. I'm at the world through window pane, stained by the rain. Ooh, let it pour, let the glass go dark. I'm just a pilot of a sinking bark. The storm will end, but the stains remain. Just me. In the rain. I'm standing in the hallway with a heavy ring of brass, watching the afternoon turn into shadows on the glass. This house was once an anthem, a song without an end. But now the silence is a weight I can no longer bend. I start at the top of the landing where the sun hit the floor, and I place my shaking hand upon the master bedroom door. I'm looking at the imprint where you used to lay your head before I turn the metal and bury what was said. It's not a house of mirrors, it's a house of sharp regrets, and the more I see, the less my heart is willing to forget. So I'm walking through the memories with a cold and steady hand, drawing lines in the dust of a life we never planned. Now I'm locking rooms I used to love, one by one by one, hiding all the could-have-beens from the rising of the sun, turning the bolts on the kitchen where we danced at 2 a.m., sealing up the parlor and the ghost of him and them. Every click is a hollow thud, a sorry left to die underneath the ceiling and the weight of your goodbye. I'm shrinking down my world until there's nowhere left to go but the empty foyer where the bitter winds blow. The guest room's full of boxes of the things we didn't use, a cemetery of someday and the life we didn't choose. I shut the door on the library, the books we never read. I can't bear to see the bookmarks sticking out like they're not dead. Yeah. I used to keep the windows wide to let the jasmine in. Now I'm sealing up the cracks to keep the winter from my skin. It's an architectural morning, a structural retreat, a slow and steady rhythm of a man in full defeat. If I lock them all, does the memory lose its key? Or am I just a prisoner of the parts I won't let free? I'm making this place smaller, a box inside a box, until I'm just a shadow living life behind the light. From the rising of the sun, turning the bolts on the kitchen where we danced at 2 a.m., sealing up the parlor and the ghost of him and them. Every click is a hollow thud, a sorry left to die underneath the ceiling and the weight of your goodbye. I'm shrinking down my world until there's nowhere left to go but the empty foyer where the bitter winds blow. Only the hallways left now, just a path to the front door. I don't recognize the person who lived here before. Turn the key, walk away, walk the love in the grave. I'm drafting the damage in the dim morning light, counting the cracks that formed overnight. The joys are all screaming under gravity's weight, while I study the math of a love gone to fade. I thought we were marble, I thought we were steel, something the passage of time couldn't peel. But I'm looking at beams that are starting to bow, and a heart that doesn't know how to stay standing now. There's a failure in the logic, a flaw in the stone, a structural weakness in being alone. I'm checking the levels, but the bubble won't center in a home that is broken for any new renter. It's the architecture of a breakdown, the design of a fall, the way the roof shatters and takes out the wall. I'm mapping the ruins of the us that we built on a foundation of longing and a mortar of guilt. Every pillar is crumbling, every archway is thin, letting the cold and the hurricane in. It's a masterwork, a wreckage, a beautiful sin. The architecture of a breakdown. Where do I begin? The blueprint is soaked and the ink is all run. The work of a lifetime is finally undone. I'm standing in the kitchen where the tile has split, staring at the vacancy where you used to sit. It's a slow motion collapse, a riveted decay, as the pieces of forever all drift far away. I used to know the layout, I used to have the key. Now I'm just the debris of what used to be me. Is it a demolition or just a slow rust? Watching the cathedrals all turn into dust. I'm bracing the corners with memories and lies, but you can't keep a ceiling from meeting the skies. The scaffolding shaking, the iron is cold. It's a story of failure that's never been told. It's the architecture of a breakdown, the design of a fall, the way the roof shatters and takes out the wall. I'm mapping the ruins of the us that we built on a foundation of longing and a mortar of guilt. Every pillar is crumbling, every archway is thin, letting the cold and the hurricane in. Yeah, it's a masterwork, a wreckage, a beautiful sin. The architecture of a breakdown. Where do I begin? Clear the sight, haul away the stone, leave the plot empty and leave me alone. The frame is gone, the light is dead, just a blueprint of shadows inside of my head. Inside of my inside of my I didn't choose the lumber didn't pick the site, but I'm moving in the furniture in the middle of the night. It's a colonial of sorry on a cul-de-sac of gone, with a porch that faces sunset instead of facing dawn. The windows are all frosted with the breath of my regrets, and the mortgage is a burden that the memory never lets. I'm hanging up the pictures of the life we didn't lead in a house that grows around me like a tall and tangled weed. The chimney doesn't draw and the fireplace is cold, and the wallpaper is yellow with a story never told. I try to find the exit, I try to find the latch, but the walls are made of shadows that no light can ever catch. Welcome to the house that grief built, brick by heavy brick, where the air is made of silence and the misery is thick. The hallways stretch forever, leading back to where you stood before the heart was hollow and the rot was in the wood. I'm a tenant of the hollow, I'm a resident of known, watching all the seasons pass with nowhere else to go. It's a fortress of the lonely, a monument of silk inside the heavy rafters of the house that grief built. The plumbing's full of echoes of the names you used to call, and the dust is settling slowly on the heights of every wall. I'm sleeping in the pantry, I'm hiding in the shed, 'cause I can't face the vacancy of our king-size bed. I painted every shutter with a shade of midnight blue to match the color of the day that I lost the sight of you. The neighbors think I'm living, but they only see the shell. They don't see the architecture of this private little hell. They say home is where the heart is, but my heart is in the ground. So I built this secondary world where I'm never gonna be found. It's a structure made of what if, and a ceiling made of why, underneath the heavy pressure of a dark and weeping sky. key. The door is always wide for any piece of us that wants to crawl inside. It's a permanent address. I'm never moving out. In the house that grief built on the corner of the Dow.